Hi, I'm John,
And I'm Eric.
and we are proud affiliates of the You Run Podcast Network.
Head on over to yourunpodcast.com to check out all of our content, all of our affiliates' content, and so much more.
See y'all there. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another riveting edition of Under the Floorboards. We laugh with the creatures that go bump in the night. I'm your host, John, joined as always by my beautiful co-host, Eric. How are you this week?
I'm chilling on a couch.
Hell yeah. This week, we watched the one and only, the true Nosferatu.
The only one that matters. This is the best vampire movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
30 Days a Night, get out of here.
Fuck that.
Twilight,
Yep.
kill yourself.
Nosferatu, kill yourself. This is the greatest movie that's ever been made.
100%. And it just like, I can't imagine how people could even try to strive for the levels of cinematography. Not only that, but the stylistic choices of editing. There's just never been anything better. People have tried for over 100 years at this point, and it's just never.
They have.
It's never come to fruition.
And you have to, as a Robert Eggers, you have to ask yourself if you have set up your Lily Rose Depp's of the world for failure when you see performances like this.
This clearly could have ruined her career.
100%. And you were willing to take that risk out of your own hubris.
And this was
your
definitely
arrogance.
It was definitely a sociological statement about the movement of the trans people and how they've always been here, and we've just always needed to accept that, and we should be more accepting of that.
We should. And I also love the stylistic decision to cut all like audio out. It's just a score that's playing because that's representative of the silence that these people experience in society.
It should come down to the strength of the actors.
It should.
It
should. 100%. We shouldn't be remarking upon someone's choice with what they do with their body and how they choose the world to like see themselves as they're trying to represent themselves fully as who they are as a human being. It's frustrating to see, but fortunately we have movies like this that exist for that reason.
Yeah, and it's a reason that they say that you really need to watch the classics and master what's already it's already been done, and I can't believe that Robert Eggers of all people thinking that he can move a storyline along better than this was done. And it's a shame because like Lily Rose Depp's career is really going to suffer for that.
It is.
And the DP, I was just like, I just can't imagine what he was thinking half the time. Like why would you have to need and more than anything else, it's like, yes, the film is shot in black and white, but why is there no color differentiation at all? And like that's something that the 22 really kind of put out there was like, no, you do need to set these scenes a certain way. And it's like you do that by putting layers of blue tape over top of the lens so that we can represent night,
100%.
or do those quick edits between the film changes to represent a candle blowing out or something as intense as that,
Yeah, and leaving cards up and to represent the dialogue with physically written like text on the cards, and leave them up longer than is necessary for most people to like make that accessible for people who don't read so well.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it felt like the movie really catered to the crowd in a way that, there were a lot of underprivileged people at the time, people that weren't going to school, couldn't read.
Sure.
And giving them a safe space to be themselves and be able to watch this film, was incredible because, these people were saving all of their hay pennies for the week that they have been, pulling crops and reaping and sowing and all of this shit just to go to a film that felt like it was too highbrow for them. And that's not fair societally. And I think that's where people like Eggers really fail.
Yeah, there's definitely a class war in filmmaking these days, I think. And you look at what the world was going through in 1922, right? Coming off the heels of what they knew at the time to be the biggest war in history.
Right.
And what we were dealing with as a society. So to get something so groundbreaking in like a monster movie. Was this the first time we ever saw a live werewolf on screen? Yeah.
100%, and like it was like I dreamed a dream
Hmm.
of doing something like that, and using real animals to actually represent that, whether
Hmm.
and sometimes it was based on what you can find, the hyena,
Yeah.
very close to a werewolf,
Yeah.
and obviously, they were chasing the horses away. That was a lot of terror inducing actions,
Hmm.
and I just
And
felt like
having the fucking balls to kill an animal on screen.
absolutely,
Yeah.
whether it be mice
Yeah.
or a hyena or a
100%.
horse. Yeah, absolutely.
PETA is the real plague.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. PETA is actively ruining movies. Because honestly, like I just don't think when they were making The Lion King that they should have had that many writers
Mm.
in for animals. Like it feels unfair for them to be like, well, I want water from Africa. It's like, well, that's really big into a budget. Like I get this is a multi-million-dollar film, but like you really can't just expect people to bend the knee. Why? Because you're playing Mufasa? That's
And
insane.
to think that you speak for animals.
Yeah,
They have their own
100%.
voices. James Earl Jones comes to mind.
And it's just that level of appropriation again, like where you don't get to just be mad
Mm.
for other people. Sometimes the mice are suicidal and they don't want to be a part of this and they're willing to give themselves. It's like the whole euthanasia debate. Like, where's the level where it's humane if they actually don't want to be a part of this anymore? And if they're in pain, they're cancerous or whatever, we don't know what these mice were going through
Right.
at the time.
Um, we could go on and on about hmm, the reach that this film has and what it
Absolutely.
did for the world and what it did for filmmaking in general. Would you like to go scene by scene in this one?
I think there's just so much to capture in
Yeah.
this that I think that
I just worry about this becoming a 2 or 3 hour long episode.
100% because
Yeah.
there's so much to talk about, and I'm surprised the movie wasn't longer at the end of the day because it felt like there was so much again, like they were trying to make sure that they were capturing this specific target audience, but I get that that comes down to a lot of variables
Mm.
at the end of the day. And for those of you listening right now, that was like, in case you can't tell, that was 5 straight minutes of sarcasm. Because this movie fucking sucks.
I want you guys to go back and look at how many times I broke character and had to like move off or whatever. I thought we were gonna do that for 30 minutes, man. I was like I was receiving upholstery from my trying to lock in here because I was like, fuck, he's just gonna keep going. This movie fucking blows, dude. I don't know, and I want to give credit where it's due. It was made in 1922.
Sure.
However, I don't know that I've ever seen a movie with so many mechanical flaws.
Or so many storytelling
Yeah,
flaws that just like,
yeah.
just why?
Holy shit. Robert Eggers, I love you, but absolutely anyone could have done a better job retelling this story.
There's just like a director's chair and there's a ham sandwich sitting in
Yeah.
it.
Eating a smaller ham sandwich.
Yeah, guys, this
Yeah.
is one. It was so funny too because we were like, yeah, we're just gonna like ironically watch
Hmm.
Nosferatu,
And so we did.
and it's like, I just like. I can't even begin with like my issues with this film because it runs so fucking deep at this point. I will say the soundtrack absolutely fire.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope so because it's
Yeah.
called Horror of the Night,
Yeah.
right? Is that what it is?
Something like that.
Or Symphony of Horror?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, Nosferatu Symphony of Horror. Symphony of the Night is Castlevania,
Oh, okay.
the other vampire.
Yeah, I miss when like I always want to go see one of those movies like let's say Lord of the Rings, for example, Fellowship of the Ring, when you have the live orchestra that's doing the score behind the
Oh
movie and
yeah,
that kind
yeah,
of thing because I love shit like this
yeah.
where
Hmm.
it's just there's very obviously like they recorded this as a symphony, as an entire piece, and just put it underneath the film itself. And that's really, really special to me.
Well, you and I and like a lot of our listeners kind of grew up in that era of like Fantasia 2000. So a lot of that's very
I put a can down. That's all it was. Fuck you too.
put a can down.
Put a can on.
Eric is currently accompanying Thatchmo, who
It's the other way around. I know my path.
welcome to the show, Thatch.
Yeah.
That
What's
is
up,
my paralyzed doodle. I can hear him sniffing in my fucking
Hell
head.
yes, that's what I keep saying. We got to be careful with him because he says some wild shit.
Yeah, borderline anti-Semitic at times, but you know, it's like,
We're working on it.
yeah, we're working on it. He's getting there.
Yeah.
He's getting there. I'm sitting a little bit lower today because I don't know. It's a good thing you can't really see my pupils in this, but I'm post surgery right now, so I'm very much talking to my ex right now.
Mhm.
Oxycontin. But anyways, into the film, right? Was
Yeah.
this your first time watching it?
This was my first time watching it all the way through, like start to finish. I've seen snippets of this because this is one like I have a vague memory of being at a vacation rental place when I was like 6, maybe, with my cousins and grandma and everything, and they were all watching it, and I just wanted to go to bed, so I was kind of in and out of consciousness the 1st time I saw this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, this is my second time watching it. I actually dodged it for a long time
yeah.
intentionally because when I say I like old movies, it's like 60s and up.
Yeah.
Like there is a point where I'm just like, oh my God.
Because man, oh my God, indeed.
Oh my fucking God, what a slog fest.
Yeah.
The movie is 95 minutes.
Yeah.
And
And it realistically could be about 50.
yeah, 30% of this film is just reading because they leave it on the screen
Yeah.
for these indigent fucks that like can't read.
Yeah. And for your people that are like, oh, it was a silent, well, we know it's a silent movie. We know.
Yeah,
we're
bro.
not. Yeah, we're not criticizing them for choosing not to use spoken word in 1922.
Well, and it's not like the facial acting sold you on
No,
anything, dude.
100%.
It was 80% people just like looking like they just ripped a fucking banger out of a meth bowl and just going beer.
And a lot of recycled things. We were talking. You. This is your pet peeve, so I actually want you to riff on this a little bit more. But when you see something and then you see that same exact thing later on in the movie.
Yeah, so I hate The Conjuring, and it's one of those things, man, where like if you show me something, right, it is important, or it should be. Other than I can't even remember which scene it was, but it was like, oh, when they were talking about the Venus flytraps, and Eric goes, "Well, anyways," because the flytraps had like they were just like, "Oh, Venus flytraps are like vampires."
Yeah. There is that because like now there's mosquitoes way up here in the European mountains. I don't think that's real. I could be wrong, but
They're
just
actually like sipping out of teacups.
Yeah. I've wondered about like snow-capped mountains and like whether or not mosquitoes could thrive in those environments many times in my life. But the thing that cracked me up so much about that Venus flytrap scene is there's literally a card at the beginning of the scene that's like, I forgot to mention that meanwhile there's this professor that does this work on vampiric organisms and that kind of thing, and he's like, it's a flytrap. And then it cuts to the it's like back to Nosferatu. It's like just shit like that is weird, you know. I don't know.
But yeah, when movies do that thing like you're saying, that is my biggest pet peeve is when you give us this important information. I tend to hold on to information when I feel like it's important. And they'll do this, and I'm not talking about like they'll show you something and then they'll show you a little bit more that like was the key wording at the very end of like to solve the puzzle or whatever. But when you show me something and you show me the exact same thing again, or even worse when you do it like 5 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie did it like 12 fucking times.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a scene where Count Orlok is like sending a letter to what's her name, Elena or
Mm-hmm.
Ellen.
Yeah, Hutter is sending one to Ellen.
Ellen.
Yeah.
Right. So he's sending her this letter, and it's just like, I have two bite marks on my neck. I think they are mosquitoes. They were relatively close together. That
Mm-hmm.
is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a scene of her on the beach, and she actually like gets the letter, and we just read the letter again.
Again, for the same length of time we did the first time too. So there's your 90 seconds right there that you could have,
And they did it multiple times too, with like,
Mhm.
they were trying to establish that he was reading the same book, so he would open a book and it would be the same fucking passage
Yeah.
again. And I'm just like,
And it just, again, from a storytelling perspective, it just happened to be the book that reveals the vampire, explains how to avoid being, cursed by the vampire,
mhm.
and what to do if a curse breaks out. He just happened to have that on him, right? And so did she, right? He came back with it, and just, yeah. So we can nitpick it, I feel like, but I also want to emphasize that again, yes, I know it's 103 fucking years old. I do know that. But people were making better movies back then too. You know?
Paranormal Misfit Podcast brings you all the paranormal, conspiracies, and all the movie reviews your soul can handle. Brought to you by hosts Chrissy and Nino.
Grab your tinfoil hat, a glass of wine, and light the fireplace. Things are about to get cozy and weird.
Be sure to check them out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and as always, yourunpodcast.com. I can't wait for the 2 comments that that I see on this.
Furious.
The first one's going to be like, nice clickbait, douchebag, because I'm just going to put Nosferatu review.
Put Robert Eggers in the thumbnail.
I did that recently for someone commented on our Sleepwalkers episode and was just like, how is the review longer than the movie? I was like, I guess you'll have to click on it and fucking find out. And he was like, absolutely not. I was like, thanks for the interaction, man.
Yeah,
I'll see you later.
I'm in it for the views, bro. We're trying to get ad revenue with this bitch.
As it turns out, social is just a toxic waste dump no matter where you go.
No, 100%.
But yeah, there's kind of like, I guess like some of my bigger issues with this were some pretty drastic plot holes, and like one of them was like Count Orlok is trying to buy a house in. Well, here's where I was getting confused. Was he was trying to buy it in this small little town. Outside of outside of this small little town is a castle. Next to the castle is another castle that Orlok is coming to look at and buy. And they never actually establish like why.
Yeah.
Like, is this like one of those frivolous rich people things that I just don't get?
It was quickly glazed over at the beginning that the old man with the ledger is the guy that sends Hutter to go fetch Orlok and bring him to this property. I don't know if that's the way real estate worked back then.
They did use the word agent.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's obvious that it's like Orlok is that dude's master, becomes very apparent later on, right? That he just wanted him to go get Orlok.
Nosferatu is daddy.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so that's but it's just one of those writing choices that I don't know. It didn't make sense to me at first either. And it's just, again, it's because pacing is an issue in this movie. It's because reading is hard. Things like that. Yeah,
that's why we were making shitty movies was because nobody could read.
Yeah.
Bram Stoker sounds great.
You want to go see a movie? No, I can't read.
More like Bram Stoker, am I right? Because for its time, this movie was incredibly pornographic.
I believe it. Somebody just jerking it in the theater, and the old Nickelodeon.
The crazy part is
a woman in her nightgown.
That's one hot tomato right there.
How can you tell? I can tell.
Does a bump of coke out of his locket. because this was the magical time where everybody was allowed to do cocaine,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just, it was just
Just for
everywhere.
sure. You got any laudanum? Yeah, I do. Here. We got to buy one, get one today on laudanum.
um, yeah, man. Dude, do you think that? And I've never looked into this, so I'm curious as to if theaters were better back then. Like, was it like a restaurant experience
Ooh,
too?
I don't know, maybe.
Like, I feel like you should
Like
be,
the snack bar was like filet mignon.
dog. I'm just trying to go to a fucking theater that I can get an egg cream at. Like,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
sounds
yeah.
amazing.
I'm sure if not, they were more liberal about bringing snacks in.
I'm just looking it up right now.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Well, no, that's all I had to say. Like you could go to the bakery and get your cream puff
And then get your cream
or
puffed.
whatever. Yeah. Whatever people did in 1922. Yeah.
Well, I know they didn't have Bunch of Crunch, so it's already inferior.
As experiences go. You're like really interested in
Dude,
this.
I'm just so curious. It's the it's the Oxy. Okay, so let's see here. Obviously popcorn became popular and affordable snack alongside other inexpensive treats like milk duds, which I fuck with that.
Cool.
While alcohol consumption suffered due to prohibition, snacks flourished with the introduction of Baby Ruth, O. Henry, Mounds, Mr. Goodbar, Mike and Ike's, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, Butterfinger, Heath Bars, Nestle Drumsticks, and Popsicles.
Go to the Nickelodeon and get a popsicle.
Doug, who in the actual fuck is. Oh, they're talking about the good ass drumsticks too. I thought they were talking about chicken at first.
Yeah, yeah. Like the ice cream drumstick.
Yes, I fuck with that so hard. Wait,
Why you just up, bro? Why you relax? Right back at you, dude.
don't fucking tell me to
We are live.
relax, Eric.
Do not say that. We are fucking live. We're not
Dude,
live.
dude, oh my god.
He's
I'm
gonna
gonna
have
have
to
to.
edit this out.
God damn it, I'm not. But
Some ASMR. This dog's fucking awesome.
yeah, he's pretty cool.
Oh,
Much
he wagged his tail.
much cooler than this film.
Yeah, if you guys, what we should do is also just record Thatch for 30 minutes
It's just him moving.
and call that Nosferatu. Okay, okay, the actual review.
Just get him in the doorway. Yeah, I think it's funny that in this film they explain a lot about really just the fact that like vampires drink blood,
Mhm.
but they don't explain the fact that I guess from whatever because however or wherever this castle it is across the Black Sea
Mm.
from where we started this film at.
Transylvania.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
well, so I sorry, I meant I guess Pyberg was the other place,
Yeah.
right? So
Sounds right. I'm just gonna go with it.
yeah, Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
They're all eating salads with like fucking French fries and shit
Fucking
on
really,
top.
really shitty ribs. Lynn Lowry's just in the corner, pissed off, just going through it.
No, she's happy that we're just always talking about it. But they don't explain like the powers that Nosferatu has. Or I guess vampires in general. They don't really cover that either. They just kind of say that there are vampires.
Yeah.
But he can like become this shadow death bird thing,
Keep calling him a death bird,
which
I guess.
transcends Transylvania,
Yeah.
and he can just astral project himself to
plague into places. Which begs the question of why he needed to be fetched in the first place. Because he was very much awake and like activated when Hutter shows up. You know?
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was in like 1,000 year like Skyrim style slumber where I accidentally to get the Elder Scroll I had to awaken the vampire chick, you know. Um, but yeah, no, Nosferatu just means vampire. So it's just as though
Okay.
that like the book about Nosferatu would just be like about vampires. And what was the title of the book again? It was like vampire something and something completely
Oh,
unrelated.
it was vampire or of vampire and something seven deadly sins.
And the seven deadly sins. That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Did the dude at the inn, the first inn that he stops at, is that the dude that gave him that book?
I think
Okay.
so. Yeah. The one that he was very fucking rude to. He just
Yeah.
like starts smacking the table. He's like,
Oh,
"Bring me
pictures of
my dinner."
Spider-Man. Yeah. Yeah. He
And
has like he has
everyone
like
turns their head. Spider
Spider-Man. He takes like a shot and turns into the worst patron.
Man. They don't tip.
Hmm.
I know that they don't tip.
Yeah.
Um,
I would like to do some in-depth character analyses or something like that, or really like, but we just can't because
because they're dead.
there's just well, there's no depth.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
here's your depth.
And
It's
like
all in the
I'm trying
eyes.
to think about like what we would talk about with the plot without just going scene by scene, which I know nobody wants to hear. Um,
Yeah.
but there's not really a reason to. I mean, that's kind of the movie, right? Like he goes, he gets Orlok, he brings Orlok back. Orlok has sent a plague that's killed presumably thousands of people because they have already called it a pandemic. You know,
Everyone's wearing masks in
yeah, yeah,
town.
right. Um, and the Ellen, you know, is able to lure him into her chamber long enough for the son to he didn't heat the cock. Um, he was supposed to heat the cock.
Heed the crow of the
Yeah,
first cock.
yeah, the first cock. And he just dies and that's it. And you were talking about how like somebody with that many years of experience would like
The son.
would just be willing and able to just say, I'm gonna put the girl on hold. I'm gonna go back home for the night. But it's just her neck. She's just got such a beautiful neck. He can't resist.
Dude, if somebody started talking about my fiance like
Yeah.
that, like, man, she's got such a great neck. And I'd be like, first of all, yes. Second of all, am I killing you now? Like, is this?
I don't even know how I would respond. Like that's such a left field comment. Like
Well, here's
compliment.
my thing. Like, I imagine that if someone compliments someone else's neck,
Yeah.
it's for one of two things.
Yeah.
One is strangulation. The other,
Not you.
you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Well, because
You know what I'm talking
the
about.
only other time in film history I've heard somebody compliment somebody's neck is in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, where Frollo was like, "I'd like to put a rope around that beautiful neck," and that's both for the two
Yeah.
options. That was one of those instances.
That homoerotic
Both of
asphyxiation.
these things can be true at the same time. Yes. Hellfire. Wish we had watched that instead.
We still, I know we're not doing months anymore,
Yeah.
but we should do a Disney month at
We could
some
just do
point.
Disney episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just sprinkle them in like the Marvel or the comic book episodes. If you guys want to see us review Disney movies, first of all,
Please.
I'm so sorry your life turned out this way. And secondly, let us know in the comments.
um, yeah, that was kind of like because they don't really allude to why he's that stupid either,
Yeah.
and it's just like, oh, I must have her neck.
Yeah.
Oh, the sun is basically coming up. Ah, dang.
Maybe this is the vampire lust they were trying to talk about in Twilight.
But also,
Like
dog, we
overpowering.
saw him in the sun at the beginning of the fucking movie
Oh,
when
because when he was standing in the courtyard. Yeah.
no, he literally was on the buggy.
Oh yeah, I thought that was at night though. Maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know. Or
I-
was he like completely clothed so he was okay? Again, we
That's
don't
what I think it was.
we don't know the mechanics. We haven't established world building because there is none.
And he had like the hat that he is wearing looks like a piece of tortellini, and like all I can think to myself
It
is, this is the hat of a killer, Bella.
I like like the riding coat the dude was wearing, Hutter was wearing, because that's straight up like Bloodborne pulled that. And I
Okay.
get that that's a period. I'm not saying, look, Eric, everybody wore those back then. I know that. I'm just saying it's like
It's why it's a
it's
timepiece.
why it's why it's in Bloodborne. And I was looking at that, I was like, Bloodborne. And it just made me want to play Bloodborne. Um, or do literally anything except continue watching that movie. That was such a drag. I don't even know that I have anything else to say.
At least we were watching it together and could have fun watching it.
The other thing we're considering doing is doing a voiceover of this movie and editing out all of the because I think 100 years makes it public domain. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So
Let us know in the comments if if you want a 50-minute version of Nosferatu, but we wrote the lines to
it's
it.
just oh man, that would be so fun and that would take so much work.
Actually, it really wouldn't. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Let
I
me say this. Let me rephrase. That would take more work than I think I'm willing to do.
all you gotta do is talk.
I hate this. Though. I hate talking.
Kill me.
That's why I've got nicotine, beer, a dog, and head scratches, and I keep taking my flip flops on and off. Just fucking going through it, just nervous as shit all the time. That's gotta go to work tomorrow.
Everybody stop fucking looking at me. At least you're not like one of those nervous masturbators.
No,
Because
no,
that
no.
shit's very real, apparently.
I've got to really lock in to masturbate. That's a whole like time slot. That's
Dude, that's like the worst part about opiates. Like, I don't know how Nikki Six could hold a hard on
100%.
with like shooting heroin. Like, that's insane to me.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just lasts so long because he's pushing rope
I
the
was
whole
gonna say
fucking time.
that's assuming that he was hard. We're still just assuming. Nikki Six would 100% lie about being hard. So
I'm just gonna leave it in here.
still counts.
I'm trying to think. There were a couple other things about this movie, but overall, it was one of those things where like we watched it for the meme's sake,
Yeah.
you know.
We just thought it would be funny to make y'all listen to this. Thinking we are gonna do the new one that people care about. We should do the new one at some point. I think we probably will.
Dude, I do hope that people listen to the opening monologue though, because that was so unplanned and so
we just
the riff was so hot.
That's why I love you.
Okay,
Orange flavored
motherfucker. So, okay, so we don't have to talk about Nosferatu anymore. There is, well, no, there is one thing vampire related I did want to bring up as like a nice little capper for this episode. Cool. So when you think about vampires, right? There's an array of abilities that we've seen throughout time, obviously with a lot of it in cinema, starting with Nosferatu. So let's say we have a tourney, right? You can pick vampires from all across space and time.
Brad Pitt.
You think I'm talking cage match?
Yeah. I don't know. Like any iteration of vampires in any format whatsoever.
Any.
Okay. Because there are some in video games that I just think are gnarly. I think about Lord Harkon from Skyrim, obviously. Was no, he was a Nephilim. Who do you have? You go, and
So I've kind of got like a top three, and I think
I'm just thinking of the Cullens. Like I can't get away from Twilight mentally.
I think coming in at in third place in this tournament cage match, is any of the vampires from 30 Days of Night.
Yeah.
I think they just brute strength their way through it. And I like to think that if they, even if they don't have some of the same powers that other vampires do, they
Mhm.
still have immunity to those,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Um,
I'm gonna throw Blade in there. I'm
I was
sure
gonna
he's
say
in your top two somewhere.
Blade is number two.
Yeah.
Blade is absolutely number two.
Yeah.
Um, and then three or at the
No,
top is probably you need to stop saying that shit while we're live.
you are out of control, dude. You are so bad. I know Trump's president. You've got to relax.
Stop reminding us, Jesus.
We're not supposed to get political anymore. I apologize.
Who's
He said it. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. It wasn't me. Number
uh,
one.
number one is I'd like to think that it's either Kate Beckinsale or Victor
Mm,
from Underworld One.
yeah.
Oh well, it's probably well. I don't want to count Michael because Michael's like a tribrid.
Yeah. It's hard to say Dracula too, just because Dracula exists in many forms. You fucking shut the fuck up.
I'm gonna kill myself, Eric.
Little waggy tail.
You wagggy tailed looking motherfucker.
Because like Van Helsing Dracula is very powerful,
Yeah,
obviously, like as far as Draculas go.
yeah. That's probably number one
Yeah.
because he's got all of the abilities
Mhm.
plus that like amorphous beast mode.
So I'm gonna bounce this back to you.
Mm.
What do you think in the tier list of powers? Where how would you rank like your top three? Like what do you think is
Definitely and it's kind of been iterated twice in two different ways where it's some will call it like the power of persuasion
mm,
and then some it's just like straight up
mind
mind
control?
control
Yeah.
and like that's diabolical.
That's gotta be number one.
Like and like not it would be diabolical even just for the average person to have that. Like could
Mhm.
you imagine like somebody drops a deuce on your car so you make them go out in the middle of the street and masturbate? Like
I like we were on the same hemisphere but different, like body horror, yes. Felonies.
it really had me in the first half, not gonna lie.
I always think that immortality is very underrated.
Sure.
Um, the thing that I hate,
Shut the fuck up, Immortal.
shut the fuck up, Immortal. He's just a bad example, dude. No, that's literally the worst. If he's truly Abraham Lincoln, that means he allowed slavery to go on for like millennia without acting upon it before finally stepping in. Immortal is a piece of shit. I'm sorry. Um, uh, people are like, no, being immortal would suck, dude. Everybody you love would die. Like, you meet other people. You know what? Like,
It's like an ex.
yeah,
you,
dude, you get over it eventually. You know what I
you
mean?
have
Like,
thousands of years
yeah,
to get
to
over it.
travel the world and like you would eventually, theoretically, eventually run out of shit to do. You know, but there's enough of a variety on Earth that I feel like you could keep it fresh. You know, like I've had, McDonald's before. I'm not into McDonald's today, but one day I'm going to have McDonald's again. You know, I feel like like if immortality is like no, but it'd be so sad to like never be able to die. I was like, you can still kill yourself. Like vampires can absolutely be killed.
Right.
You just,
You just step out the
you
sun.
have outs, bro. That's not. I think it's a very underrated ability for vampires to have.
No,
Like,
100%.
yeah, like vampiric immortality is like awesome.
I feel like you would also have the time to master everything.
Are you kidding me?
Like, could you imagine like being that dude who has the ability to just walk in on the Illuminati?
Yeah, right.
Because you just know where they're at.
100%. You'd have more money than God. I mean, even if you worked at Chick-fil-A for an eternity, you would still eventually have more money than God.
Oh God, I'm in hell.
Fucking kill me, somebody like oh, the scenarios. It's gonna be me projecting if I finish that thought. But no. Number three for me, um, I don't know, like, because it just depends. Like, super speed is pretty cool, but I still think I would take like turning into like a flock of bats over super speed. Like, if I'm
Mhm.
just building my vampire, because that's crazy.
Do you ever
Um,
wonder if there's like a master bat?
Master bat,
Yeah,
yeah.
because like if
I think that's just the past tense of master.
that was master bot.
I master bat. I master bat all over the place.
I'm thinking more along the lines of like if he tries to get away and you just like shoot the master bat, so all of them just like
I see
fall
what
out
you're
of the
saying. Yeah,
sky.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like duplicate.
Yeah,
Like there is a
exactly.
number one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I keep calling her replicate,
yeah.
but I feel like I don't
That's probably,
care.
yeah. I feel like if you said that, people would know what you meant.
um,
There's always also the ability to turn somebody into your thrall, but that feels a little sus because that's basically just like enslavement.
yeah, that could also just be their kink.
Yeah, cool.
Like all this weird shit about Doja Cat I've heard lately.
Oh, what's the weird shit about Doja Cat?
Dude, apparently Doja Cat is like very much doesn't like black people. Like
Weird.
yeah, so
Yeah.
she's literally Uncle Ruckus.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
apparently like she's dated a Nazi before, and like I was listening to this thing the other day about it, and it's like she has literally come out and said to her like black fans,
Mm.
don't be fans of mine. Like that is an insane thing to say.
Yeah.
But I gotta feel like there's gotta be some level of like degradation that she's just into.
Huh.
So like she's like in the middle of like this neo-Nazi gangbang thing. I don't know.
I don't even want to like think about it. It's fucking gnarly.
Till I want it.
Because like there's going to be a time we're eventually going to hear about the Elon parties.
Oh
You
god.
know, like the Diddy parties are going to be a thing of the past, and one day we'll hear about what went down with Elon.
Yeah, it's gonna be like weird shit with Elon though. It's
Mm.
gonna be like he made me come into his room and I bent over and he just screamed at my ass. Like it's gonna be like the craziest shit we've ever heard that we also like can't comprehend. He asked me to make him a sandwich with my feet.
Holy shit.
He made me drink a bottle of Robitussin and then swim.
We should end this episode.
Fucking Elon's listening right now. He's like, those motherfuckers.
How do they know?
How do they know? The Deathbird shadow comes up on the wall.
It's just a Tesla. Look,
Guys, there's a Cybertruck shadow in my house.
oh my goodness gracious.
Oh man. Final thoughts.
No.
Vote better, everybody.
I said what I need to say.
How long till I want it? Well, guys, that was Nosferatu. Don't watch it. It sucks. And for anyone, and this is the last thing I'll say, is anyone who is like, yeah, Nosferatu, Casablanca, absolute classics. Like you have to watch those. They're so good.
Don't.
They are the same people that like go home and eat peanut butter out of the jar off of a knife and then take their glasses off, wash them, and then kill themselves.
Very, very apt.
Yeah. A lot of suicide this episode, I know.
We should probably put a trigger warning in. Hey guys, don't kill yourself.
Yeah, please don't. We need all the followers we can get. uh Seriously though, thank you guys for joining us once again at Under the Floorboards, where it creaks, it cracks, and we laugh at the creatures that go bump in the night. Good night, everybody.